there. Welcome to Rested Mamas Talk. We're Chelsae
and Mica, your certified pediatric sleep coaches who were once exhausted mamas just like you turned into rested mamas who now have helped hundreds of families get better sleep in 3 days with an alternative to traditional sleep training.
As creators of the Association Fading Sleep Method, we teach a responsive and holistic approach. Our podcast is dedicated to sharing the journey from true parental exhaustion to thriving parenthood.
From real sleep tips from us and other experts to real stories of families just like you.
Let's get rested. Hey there, welcome to another episode of Rested Mamas Talk. My name is Chelsae. It is so great to have you here today. And hey, Mica, how are you doing?
Hey, how are you?
I'm doing good. It's nice to see your beautiful face today.
You too.
I actually, Mica and I don't live in the same city, believe it or not, but I actually went and visited Mica this last week. And so I do miss you. I did.
You do.
I miss you when we're not in the same city. But today I am so excited because we are actually talking about a topic, a misunderstanding, myth, however we want to call it, that we hear a lot from potential clients. And that is, getting good sleep. Does that really mean no life? Do you have to have a good, strict, however you want to say it. Let's say, do you have to have a strict schedule to have good sleep?
Do you have to run to your house before nap time, every single nap time, every single day, for you to still be able to have good sleep after you sleep train?
Correct. And that means, nighttime too. Does that have to be super strict? What does that look like? Right. I understand it's a really understandable misconception. And it's also a really understandable concern that a lot of our potential clients have, especially just because being a new mom, right, Mica, first time mom, you're already going through so many changes and adjustments, and then put on this extra layer of oh my gosh, not only are all these things that I'm adjusting to as kind of essentially finding myself a little bit again, and what that looks like as being a mom, but now I have to throw out all events and everything out the window.
It's like you're picking one thing from another. And I remember, as having a newborn, because your boobs were already out all the time.
All the time.
I felt like I already couldn't leave. And then I was tired, right? And so I could see how moms can think, okay, I'm really maybe past the point where my wake times are longer and I can actually be out. And I'm really tired at night and I really want sleep, but do you have to pick one or the other? Right. And our answer is no. You don't have to pick one or the other. No. You can have both. I think, this is where it's really important that all of our followers, our listeners, families understand what it means to be consistent versus strict and what things actually break sleep that matter. Right. And it's going to start first of all, understanding the real truth, which is laying the foundation initially for consistency with your child in the beginning is going to allow you to have more flexibility with your life, with travel, with going out. And so I think that maybe doesn't resonate with anyone just yet listeing to this if you're trying to figure it out. So
let's kind of dive in.
Let's understand the why and the what. Let's talk about that.
So kind of at the basis here, it is a misunderstanding that you have to have a lack of flexibility in order to have a consistent sleeper. Okay. Now within our program, we do talk about being strict. And what we mean by that is being pretty exact with our, our bedtime and our nap times, our wake windows, that morning wake up time, but only for your initial 10 days of the process. And that is because we are helping your child completely change their routine. Okay. So up until, you are sleep training and really helping your child get some different changes within their sleep habits, right? Because like what you're doing right now, even if it's not feeling really sustainable to you, is their
It's
routine.
ingrained. It's
Yeah.
I wouldn't even say like yes, routine, but it is like natural habit, right?
Yeah.
And part of that is what we're all trying to break.
Yeah.
And so what does it take to break a habit?
Consistency. And
Consistency
repetition
and
too, right?
repetition because it's
Repetition's the
new.
biggest
It's
one.
we're going
Yeah.
against the grain. We're changing something that isn't there anymore. And so the answer is yes, there is a level of strictness. And we require that really for the first 10 days so that it can work for you later and flexibility can come. Here's actually another thing
Hmm.
why while you might be in it or thinking about going in and want to know what it's like, another thing that just popped up in my head is another reason we ask for you to be, families to be so precise, not just in our program, but
Hmm.
we give you those tips in our webinar
Yeah.
that we usually do around how to make sure that you really get to your sleep goals in 3 nights is
Right.
because if you are not super accurate and strict about your wake times and your naps for the first 3 days, we
Hmm.
actually don't know what's broken.
No, we don't. And it's hard for us to troubleshoot that or kind of to advise you within that process. And so, okay, what's your saying? Mika, you're always so good with these little like one-liner nugget sayings. You want to what I want to get this right. So you want to work for sleep so that sleep can work for you.
Yes, you're gonna work for sleep so sleep can work for you because at the
Yes.
end of the day, we want this new sleep habit of independent sleep and longer stretches and really predictable naps to be so part of your child's body that it doesn't matter where you are.
No, no, no. Okay, so wait, I'm gonna go back again because here's another one of our favorite analogies. Okay. So within that 10 days period, you like we talked about, your child is relearning some of their routines and getting into the groove with your new set nap schedule and routine, right? So up until that point, whether that routine was, you were nursing to sleep or rocking to sleep, etc., what happens is that your babies, you guys are so smart, even at a very, very young age. And so think of it like a song you have memorized. So we all have those songs that even if it's been, 3 months since we last heard them, like we could tell you every single word to that song. We love that song, it's comforting. Well, so think of that as like your routine, your bedtime routine, your schedule, etc., that your child has memorized. But now in this 10-day process where we're changing those routines, all of a sudden you're going to start to sing a whole new set of lyrics. And your child is going to be initially, not forever, but initially really what, Mika? Really confused, right? Because
Confused.
this
Like there
song is
are
going to
too
sound,
many versions of the song for
yeah.
them to understand which song are they gonna do today.
Right. And so with your repetition and staying really strict just within those 10-day period, they relearn a completely new song and it does become very comforting to them, just like your old song did, your old routine. And so let's say that you were going to sing one lyric today and then another lyric tomorrow. They're not going to catch on. They're not going to learn that new song, and maybe they will, but it's going to take some additional time. And we really want our kiddos to learn as fast as we possibly can get them to learn, right? And so with that, there is that 10 days of quote unquote strictness to help them to relearn that, right?
So it's automatic, right? So
Yeah.
when Chelsea talks about that, it's because like, how many times have you tried to break a habit or started a habit, right? And drinking more water or working out. Well,
Mhm.
after maybe a month of you going to the gym twice a week, maybe the first couple of weeks, yeah, you got to like really force yourself to do it. But after a while, it starts
It's
to
just what
become, yeah,
you
it's
do.
just what you
Yeah.
do. It becomes your routine, your everyday. And so that's what we then want to let go of, so that when you are out and about, your child will actually have such strong preferences to the routine and consistency that you had in place
Mhm.
that you will be surprised. They will fall asleep at those same times and you can be consistent.
Yeah.
In
So, okay, wait, let's kind of go back again. So, what does consistent mean? I think that when people hear consistent, they think probably like same time, all of the like thing that we would think of as strict. And really whether it is that you guys are on the go, if you're traveling, if you have a holiday event, whichever, what we mean by being consistent is to one, still offer that sleep at the time that they would typically have that sleep. Okay. Just because, like Mika was saying, you guys, as long, once you have that really good, consistent, regular schedule and routine, they're going to fall asleep when they would typically fall asleep.
yeah.
Okay. They're going to want to sleep when they would typically want to sleep. So, staying consistent with that, meaning still offering sleep at that time. But the other thing too is that within the process, we really want your kiddo to learn what they're supposed to do and take those cues from sleep from their routine. So those steps are those things that they do prior to going to sleep. And those are things that you can really do and take pieces of that even when you're on the go. Okay. For example, we talk about doing something like you were saying, saying one or two specific songs before you put them down for bedtime, right? You can do those when you're out and about and on the go. Those become great sleep cues. So just
There are
know,
so many things that you can incorporate, and it's not about doing everything. Again, there is flexibility in this, but targeting the time, right, when you're out and about, and taking advantage of what are those components in your current sleep routine right now that's working for you that you can stay consistent and bring with you on the go, I think is the biggest key.
yeah.
So
So what was that for
consistency.
you? So like what are those things that you always take with you when you're on the go anticipating that sleep?
Yeah,
If
and
you
you know
can,
what? It's
right?
it's and so there is one specific thing Chelsea mentioned, like when I bring things with me on the go so that I can have that really great sleep. It's not because it's because that there are such positive associations to them, and that's my way of communicating to my child that I know you're tired and it is nap time and you can go to sleep.
Yeah.
And so, Chelsea was here last week, and what did we do?
We went wine tasting.
We went wine tasting because I live by wineries, and but we're also moms, so we had our children with us,
Mhm, yep.
and my son, who's a year and a half, still takes a nap at 12 o'clock
Mhm,
for about an hour and a half to 2 hours every day, right?
yep.
He sleeps
He's on the
um
money.
yeah,
Yeah.
7 to 6. And we went there. I looked at my clock. He was getting a little cranky anyways, not liking his snack. I put him in the stroller. I had my snooze shade that covers it and blocks it out. I always really invest in a stroller that will lay down flat.
Mhm.
And I attached my little sound machine to it.
And
And
he was out.
he was out.
Now granted, You did push him around
I
for a
did.
minute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like
That's
it
okay.
is really key. So, when Chelsae and I talk about this, it's really true that good sleep, and those consistency,
Mhm.
those routines will really work for you later. There's two things, right? There's independent sleep that you want to keep, and then there's um just sleep in general, right?
Right.
Like your nap
Right.
times, your nap schedule. And I'm not going to be able to necessarily just have him fall asleep in a stroller. I mean, that's not what we're saying. That's not magic all
No,
the time.
no, no, that's
Does
not
he
magic.
sometimes? Totally. But you know what? I know that his routines are so strong that I can stick him in a stroller. I pushed him around for what, 5 minutes, came back, stuck him in
Maybe,
the
yeah.
corner, and he was asleep for 2 hours.
2 hours.
Because that was his time and I built that pressure. And when I got home, was I gonna, rock him to sleep or whatever? No, he goes down
Yeah.
independently and we're at home now. I have control over that. We're gonna lay him down awake. And so
And
those
I
are
think
all the
that's
things you
a
can do.
yeah, that's a really good point that I think sometimes, especially after you've worked really hard on just developing really good independent sleep habits, just know that babies, like I was saying, are really smart and they're going to know the difference between when you're home and when you're not home, right?
Hmm.
And so what I just know that if you have to do a stroller nap, if you have to do, where you're putting baby in the carrier and you're walking them around, that is completely okay. Just when you go back home, or let's say you're on vacation, you go back to your Airbnb, you go back to your hotel, that is a place where they can be in their own sleep space, pack and play, bassinet, for example, where you can do those same bedtime routines or nap time routines and have them still fall asleep independently. What you're not going to do. And kind of when we say being consistent with going down at that point, what we would not recommend is, for example, even though you're in another sleep area or kind of place, to then go back to some things that, you
Old habits,
old
right?
habits. Yeah.
Whatever habit you're trying to avoid, right? Because like we mentioned, we spend 10 days breaking a habit. So if you see that you're consistently doing something else, that's really
Mhm.
where you're kind of in the red zone of turning things around.
Yeah.
And let's be real, Chelsea, right? When we talk about flexibility in terms of like flexibility for parenthood,
Yeah.
I'm clearly not going to be able to do the same things that I did before babies.
No.
But there and I'm still gonna have to cater to him, right? There's still gonna be times where it's like,
But
oh,
there's
well, I
give and
can't watch
take.
that movie, right? I can't watch that
Yeah.
movie at 12 because it's nap time. But having that predictability of knowing exactly when he's gonna fall asleep most of the time,
Yeah.
that is enough for me to be able to enjoy my day. You're gonna
And
try
plan
to time your
better,
car
right?
rides. If you're going
Yeah.
out, time your car rides during nap time. Start 10 minutes before, let them fall asleep in the car.
And if they sleep for just 30 minutes, that's totally fine.
Enough.
We always say that naps on the go or away from home, if they sleep at least 30 minutes, that's awesome. Take it, and just proceed with your schedule or your routine how you typically would after that. So
It's
that's
all about 80
completely
20, right? Chelsea, we
yeah.
always say that to our families is like, okay, obviously it's going to be different if you're on the road 100% of the time or,
Mhm.
whatever it is, but 80 20, the 80 20 rule, that 20% of life where we just go do whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So where do you think are times that you can like deviate from your child's schedule? Like, is there a time when you can do that?
I
That's a
mean,
question I get a lot.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I feel like honestly, this is a personal question
Yeah.
because,
Yeah.
and you have to know your child.
Mhm.
For us, if we are deviating from that schedule, I didn't have control over it, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I'm on a flight or, we're trying to get somewhere, we're traveling or whatever it is. I
Mhm.
don't think that I would ever of choice deviate from the schedule only because I know that my child is highly sensitive to that nap schedule and he will just simply be not fun.
Yeah.
He is a not fun guy.
Who loves an overtired child?
I mean, not
Nobody
even just
really.
Vicky, but you and I have, older girls.
Yeah.
I mean, we have girls who are very sensitive to bedtime. My 6-year-old cannot make it past 7.
You guys, so my daughter is almost 8, so she's 7 technically. And we still joke that she turns into a pumpkin at 7 if she's not into bed. Like she has to be in bed by 7:15.
And mine is not nice. I mean, Vicky will tell you too. She's like, it is late. I'm tired.
Tired.
And we let her, yeah, I mean, it's ingrained in them. We let her even
Yeah.
try to stay up for New Year's, right? For the first time ever.
Yeah.
She didn't make it. She put herself to bed.
Yeah.
So for us, I don't typically deviate. But have I been in those situations? I have been on a red eye with a baby who did not sleep.
So it happens.
It happens.
What did I do? What do we say? Control what you can control.
Control what you can control. And when I got off that plane, you better believe I didn't care what time it was, or if it was not, or it was her nap. I stuck her in and I tried to give her some sleep. And then I spent the next couple of days just readjusting, knowing that they're going to be a little tired.
That's very something that I want all of you guys to really hear us on this. There are going to be off days. Okay. Mm-hmm. Even if you've had a month of like this beautiful, like consistent, just beautiful napping, everything has gone so well. And then you have an off day, or maybe even 2, because of life events, right? Yeah. Or even just baby or your kiddo having an off day. I mean, kids are humans too.
Whatever.
Yeah. Just know that, especially since you had put in that 10 days, that work of being really consistent and diligent with your routines, you can always the next day go back. Tomorrow is a new day. And it is okay. That all that work that your child has done and has really developed really strong sleep habits is not going to be completely in the trash just because of 1 or maybe 2 days, right? Maybe there's another day of a little bit of transition to get back on things, but again, it's never gone away. Those things are just never done. So try not to be hard on yourselves too. Parenthood is hard, for lack of a better way of saying it. I'm like, I wish I had a more eloquent way of saying parenting's hard, but it is. So just be patient with yourself. Okay. So that's kind of, I think, probably the biggest takeaway of this.
Well, let's do our 3 tips then.
Okay. Right? Yes. Okay.
Time for our tips.
Yeah. Right? So, every episode we do specific sleep tips for you guys. So we call it, lack of a better way of saying, your Rested Mama sleep tips. So it is always surrounding the topic that we are talking on. And today is obviously about schedules and routines. And so here are some 3 tips to take away from today's episode. So to start it off, Mica, go ahead. Number 1.
So the first one is, when you hear about whether you are going to have to give up your life and flexibility for good sleep long-term, the answer is no. But when you're talking about establishing that and being able to have sleep work for you, it does require 10 days of strict consecutive work that you are going to utilize to establish the sleep routine, so it does become automatic. Once those routines are in place and they're fully established with your child, yes, you are going to be able to have flexibility and have naps on the go and still enjoy the things that you did before out and about.
Yeah. And just to clarify, when we say that 10 days of consecutive, consistency with your schedule, you guys, that doesn't mean that you're going to have to do every single nap at home and that you're going to have to be in your home for 10 days straight. We also are parents of 2 kids each. And so we know that there are times when you're going to have to do a car nap.
You're going to do pickup.
You're going to have to do
dance or soccer or
there's a doctor's appointment or, things like that happen. So really naps are just, practice for the big show, which is nighttime and bedtime. So we want to try to get as many naps as we can at home, at least 1 at the very, very minimum a day, but just know that too, you're not going to have to be in your home that entire day. Number two, so now this is the case, not just for, when you're being flexible or, you're those 10 days specifically, but anytime you make an adjustment to a schedule or routine. And what we mean by that is like changing the time of a nap or
Or wake
bedtime
times.
or wake windows. Anytime you make a change in that way, stick to that change consistently and consecutively for 3 to 4 days before before you expect to see the effect of that change.
That's actually just a secret little tidbit. Maybe
Yeah.
not so much about flexibility.
It isn't so much
but we
about flexibility. I just threw it in there because it was like schedule.
really think that this is super important
Yeah.
because there's a lot of information out there, and
it's really
easy to
hard
change things.
Yeah, and it's really hard to be like, okay, so I'm gonna try this today. That doesn't work. Okay, now tomorrow I'm gonna try this. But you really just gotta let it simmer. You gotta really let it play itself out and also have your child's body adjust to that change as well. And just, stick to it for that full 3 to 4 days. Okay. And the last one,
and this is your takeaway, right? Yes, you have habits in place when you are out and about, you're trying to retain sleep afterwards. Just control what you can control.
Yeah.
You don't have to make everything work like a symphony every single time, right? Your child, again, we said it, knows that you're not at home. So do things like bring like our slumber pod. We talk about slumber pod a lot on our page. I use it religiously when I go on travel. So if I can't control the light in a room, I'm gonna bring a slumber pod. Or portable suction cup curtains.
Yeah.
I'm gonna bring my hatch. And then when I'm out on the go or we're on a plane, I am going to still bring my sound machine. I am going to maybe have a sleep sack and just control the things you can control. And when I can control the time and that's the only thing, then that's what I'm going to do. So,
and I think too, with that, I mean, just know too, it's, especially once you have that really good consistency there, what can happen a lot of times is, and I used to do this all the time with my kids when they were babies, is, at the holidays, on Christmas or, New Year's, Thanksgiving, whatever holiday it is, a lot of times I would actually just go through my kiddos' bedtime routine at my sister's house and put them down there and then just transfer them back into their car seat or crib, or even do the bedtime routine.
Because that's what they're going to go back to sleep.
They're going to go back to sleep and it's going to be okay. You can even do your bedtime routine and then stick them in the car. If they fall asleep in the car, that's fine. They're ready for bed, and then put them back into their crib when you get home. So, there's our thing.
It's all possible. So just, if that's the reason why that you haven't decided to change your routine or sleep train, just know it shouldn't be.
Yeah.
So
I remember when my daughter was, I think, 9 months old, we legitimately did an abridged bedtime routine in the bathroom of a restaurant. And then we just stuck her in the car seat and we put her back in the crib when we got home. So, again, control what you can control. It's going to work out and it will be okay. So
don't let that be the reason.
Don't let that be the reason. That's a great thing to say. So, hey guys, thanks so much for joining us today. Please know if you are struggling with consistency with your sleep, with your schedule, Mica and we're here for you.
We're here for you.
Yeah, we are real, true people on the other side of this podcast. So feel free.
Find us.
We got lots of avenues here to get in contact with us. So we obviously would be happy to help you along the way. But thanks so much. And we can't wait to see you next time.
Bye.
Thanks so much. Bye. Stay rested, Mica.
Stay rested.
Bye. Thanks for listening to this episode of Rested Mamas Talk. To stay connected and get more sleep tips from us, follow us on our Instagram page at rested_mama_happy_baby.
To find out how we're helping families around the world get better sleep, check out our website, restedmamahappybaby.com, or chat with us directly to learn more about our programs. Chat with you next time.